Do you remember very much?
The boy.
Who?
The boy, Jason.
Actress and horror icon Adrienne King joins us today for an epic conversation. She was the very first final girl in Friday the 13th. Super excited, guys. Let's do it.
Kill her, Mommy. Kill her.
Miss Adrienne, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. You are absolute royalty. It's an honor. You look fantastic. How are you?
I am fantastic, actually, here speaking with you, and cheers to us, Chris.
Cheers. Thank you. Friday the 13th, I mean, you're part of a franchise. You're part of a legacy. Today, what does that even feel like?
It is incredible that I am talking to you 45 or 6 years later. It's totally humbling and amazing at the same time. You know, it's hard to believe that the first one never got finished. You know what I'm saying? It was so super low budget. We ran out of money several times. And when we left the beach that day in the middle of October, being filmed, we actually had no clue whether or not we captured that incredible moment, that iconic jump scare. That was our actual last shot because we had done it so many times with different camera variations trying to get it. And it was expensive because we had to shut down and ask for a different camera, additional cameras, additional film. And by the time Tom Savini and Sean Cunningham figured out they needed a slow motion camera in addition to 2 cameras, that was the middle of October to get that funding. Like, they had to crawl back to their investors and beg for it. I actually collected all the continuity Polaroids and the notes from the fight scene because I didn't think we would have a finished movie to talk about. And I was going to, as an artist, make a collage. So yeah, it's pretty incredible. And then the fact that people refer to me now in the franchise as the first final girl, a lot goes with that, and I'm proud of it.
That's awesome. And when the movie came out, I mean, what was life like for you? I mean, this was, the movie came out in 1980, but I'm sure you were shooting in what, 79, 78?
The summer of 1979. And I was another actress in New York City wanting to make it big and was doing tons of, lots of commercials, tons of auditions, some off Broadway, just like everybody else who was cast. We were all New York actors.
The first time I saw it, there were 2 things that stood out. One was the location. I'm from West Texas. I don't see a lot of huge trees and water and things like that. So it was just visually, it was very awesome to see. And then the cast. I mean, the chemistry that y'all had was awesome. I mean, did you know each other before the movie? Because everybody just seemed so natural in their role.
We got to know each other slowly through the audition process, but when we all met the day after Labor Day, that Tuesday morning at like 5 a.m. at Columbus Circle for a van to pick us up. I'm not kidding. It was just, okay, meet at Columbus Circle. There's going to be like a white van. You all get in it and drive 90 minutes to the campsite. And that's where we bonded. I mean, I don't think could have realized how important that van ride was up those 90 minutes, because we totally, we're half asleep and we're bonding with joy at the same time, because we fought for these roles, we got them. This was we were the chosen van, And as soon as we got to the camp, I threw on some jogging shoes and I went jogging around, got the lay of the land. And by that afternoon, we were filming that scene on the beach. Yeah, what you see on screen, not much acting, just, doing our thing. And you could see it worked so beautifully, the bonding.
It did. And being low budget, Adrienne, I mean, what we see on screen, was that the way it was written, or did the story or the scenes evolve over time?
Hold on. I have my original script.
Really?
A couple of years ago, someone said they had my original script and were selling it for a minimum of $3,500, and they would not take it off someone in England, in the UK, wanted to buy it. And he smartly wrote me and said, "Is that yours?" And I said, "No, I have mine."
That's so cool.
This just proves to you how, when I finished that day, I threw everything, including my script and the Polaroids, my boots, because I bought my own boots because the boots they had for me were half the size too small, and they couldn't afford to get me another pair of boots. So when I went back to New York City, I bought myself a big treat, a pair of boots I could run around in for the rest of the movie, But yeah, that was in a box labeled Friday the 13th. And needless to say, I didn't open it for another 25 years.
Oh, that's awesome.
I refer to this Victor Miller script as thin, very thin. Betsy Palmer, there's video of her saying, it was a piece of shit. And I said, Betsy, Victor's right there, because it was a panel at Scarefest in 2009. And she goes, he knows that.
He sent me the script, I read it, and I said, what a piece of shit. Anyway, I said, nobody is going to see this thing. It will come, it will go. That's the end of it. I'll do it. I called him and I said, I'll do it. That's my part of the story.
So yes, it was very thin, which is why Sean was so brilliant in casting the characters right off of, hey, I know they can do it because it's them, it's like no big stretch here. While we were filming, we were given the extra pages for the strip Monopoly scene. There were some brilliant moments of improv, a Janine Taylor doing her in the mirror, her.
I said, Lizzie, you'll always be playing.
She's so brilliant.
Well, at least we know what's for dinner.
Oh.
A lot of the snake scene was improv. He had great actors in there, and we all had improv skills. So a lot of the genuineness of the scene was because of the filler of improv that connected the thinness of the script, which was a gift to all of us, I think.
All of you were amazing, and the movie itself has inspired me so much. I mean, Friday the 13th is like my blueprint for a lot of my personal work. Acting is my passion. I do my little projects on the side. And during COVID, I was living in Michigan. It was the first time I had ever really left home. I was, first time seeing trees and water, and I got to work with some amazing people. And I mean, they had great chemistry, and we shot a whole bunch of, awesome stuff. But while while we were doing it, I mean, I was just this little kid, inside screaming because I was getting to shoot my first Friday the 13th, little moment. And so it was a lot of fun, but being in that type of location, the outdoors, all that, I mean, it was very new for me. I had a lot of obstacles along the way. And I mean, but you, Adrienne, when you were on set, I mean, you looked pretty natural. You looked pretty active.
Running away from monsters.
Like once the movie starts to pick up and the scene where you're trying to barricade the door, you're tying that knot. I mean, you looked pretty smooth there. I mean, it was one continuous shot, no cuts.
Yeah. I think the fact that I was a dancer helped. I studied to dance since I was probably 4 or 5 years old, ballet, tap, acrobat, and jazz, every actor, dancer, singer. And, and that's how your agents would promote you. You were either a dancer, actor, singer, or, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, whatever it was. So I could move. I could definitely move. And part of the screen test, by the way, was moving. They would give you an improv situation and they'd say, now go. And I was up and down and on the floor, and the camera had to follow me. And so, I just gave it my all, and that didn't hurt. I could show them I could move, and no money for stunt people, God forbid. So we all did our own stunts.
How are you? Well, I'm Mrs. Voorhees, an old friend of the Christies.
Betsy Palmer, Pamela Voorhees, I mean, legend. When she's first introduced, I knew something was up, right? But then when she starts talking to herself, I mean, that's, that did creep me out a little bit. And was that in the script? Or was that more Betsy?
Well, I think it might have been in the script, but not the way Betsy did it. You know what I mean? She gave me such chills when she looked up to the ceiling and said those lines. I will, Jason, I will.
Kill her, Mommy. Kill her. Don't let her live.
I won't, Jason. I won't.
Acting is reacting, and she brought my game all the way up there. So she was my gift. She was my gift as a young actress. Yeah. And she was so method, oh my God, that she wouldn't even talk to me, before, because she was afraid we'd get some bond going. And In 2004, when we were reunited, we did. But at that point in time, she would say to me, I'm going to fight down and dirty, and you better if you want to live.
What I love most about the final fight is that it kept going and going. And you ladies, you totally rocked it out. I mean, she was, Betsy was a little older than you. Did you hesitate at all? Did you feel a little nervous?
She was a little older, but boy, she was in excellent shape. Excellent shape. No, I mean, she could have gone another couple of rounds. That whole thing on the beach, it looks so real when she's slamming my head in the sand, it's because she's slamming my head in the sand. You know what I mean? It's like nothing held back. It was choreographed so well. I call it the ballet of the machete on the beach. I have those original notes. Sean had 2 pages of steno pad with coffee stains. There's 13, not 12, not 11, not 14, 13 notes. Is that crazy?
Wow.
And it says 1, something Adrienne, 2, reflection through acts, raise, 3, Adrienne swings, Tom chops, 4, reverse. It goes on like this. And I had them in my box. We memorized our cues and we knew where the cameras were. We just had to do our thing, and God bless her. Like she said, we're just gonna fight to the death. And when we finished, we were bruised and limping, And I give her such credit. Geez, she was just the most amazing person to work with, and then she became one of my best buddies in the world.
So very cool. And it was Betsy, Mrs. Voorhees, that brought me to the franchise. Quick story, Adrienne. When I was young, I wasn't allowed to watch, horror movies, rated R movies or whatever. So I had to, watch them on my own. And so when it came to the horror genre, I just naturally stayed away from it. But I knew who the characters were. I knew who Jason was. I knew who Freddy was, that type of thing. And but Jason, guy in a hockey mask, I didn't really think there was anything scary about it. And so it wasn't until 96 when Scream came out, the opening scene when the killer's, he's playing this little game with Drew Barrymore, and he asks, who the killer in Friday the 13th was. And, as an audience, I'm watching and I'm like, yeah, it's Jason. And of course it's wrong. And he says that the original killer was Mrs. Voorhees. And I was like, why is it why is it the mom? And so that immediately, I was intrigued, and I was like, I gotta go watch, Friday the 13th. And that's really and it's always the origin stories to all these characters that I enjoy the most. So I didn't see Friday the 13th, until 96. And now I'm a huge fan, obviously. And so, so again, I think what y'all did, what y'all created was amazing. And then, of course, we get the jump scare. I mean, was that even a thought at the time, or did that come later?
About 2 weeks into it, I think they figured out, let's do something like that. And it was motivated by Carrie, the whole thing. By the time that happened, it was the last day of shooting. It was cold. I was sitting on the bun warmer in the camp kitchen, warming my buns, listening to the radio. And it was 38 degrees outside, and they were already in the lake. The sun had not come up, and I knew that water was cold. And the first time I went out of camera range, when Ari came, the boy Jason came up, boom, came out of camera range, quickly have to blow me dry. Catherine, the makeup lady behind the bushes, blowing me dry, changing. My hair has to get dry, right? Get out there. My finest moment. Now I look back, because I already knew how cold that water was. I also knew this was the last take, the only take we had left before the light was going to change. I also knew the entire cast and crew were looking on me at this very moment to get it right. And the pressure, when I think back to that moment, is just so horrendous, and I was able to black it out. So what you see is, in that moment, without me giving any anticipation away, I feel is my finest moment.
10 milligrams Valium. It's all right now, Alice. It's all over. Everything's over.
Do you remember very much?
The boy. Is he dead too?
Who?
The boy, Jason.
So the movie's done. Everybody's going crazy. They love it. I mean, did your life change? I mean, overnight, what happened?
All I remember is within a week or two, I had a stalker.
Oh, man.
And it really kind of threw me into just imagine, if you will, starring in the hottest movie that summer. There were lines forever all summer long. You know, it was different back then. If they had a hit, they'd keep it going. World turned upside down because back in the day, first of all, there were no cell phones. Video cameras were just starting out. I would get Polaroids of what I'd been doing the day before or the night before underneath my door. And I lived in a doorman building. So you wonder how much he was paid. You know, I would change my phone number, and within a week or two, I'd be getting phone calls again.
That's crazy. That's scary.
The cops and the FBI, for that matter, both said to me in different variations, you make a film like Friday the 13th, what do you expect? As if, you know, that should play any kind of reason for them not wanting to protect you. But it fell on me, and there were no support groups at the time for stalkers. There was no social media, no sharing. My parents were, middle America. They said, go talk to the priest, right? But it got to a point where it did get physical at one time. And again, I fought, and I won. I won because it was it ultimately was not a fan. It was somebody who had seen the movie, hadn't seen the movie. A friend of theirs had seen the movie, said, this person looks like your ex-wife. That was the beginning of it. And it went on from there. And it got really ugly.
Well, I'm so sorry that all of that happened to you, Miss Adrienne, and I'm super, super glad that you're okay. So, I mean, if all of that happened after the first one, because they did bring you back for part 2, which was the year after, I mean, did that was all happening at the same time?
It was. And just a note, I never had a script. I trusted the wrong people. I got up there and it was the last night of filming. I had no idea. It was a skeleton crew. They'd already shot the movie. So I was totally there under false pretenses. And nobody gave a hoot what was going on. Yeah. So I had to survive betrayal on top of the fact that I had a stalker, which is not an easy thing to swallow. I think betrayal is one of the worst things you can feel.
And was it just a studio thing, or?
Yeah, Paramount got the domestic and Warner Brothers had the international. Warner Brothers was much nicer studio. They gave the Friday the 13th a lot more of the attention it deserved, whereas Paramount kind of treated us like an orphan child kicked to the curb that financed their art movies or whatever. We made more money for Paramount that year than any of their other movies, and yet they wouldn't give Betsy anything. They didn't want to give me anything extra. You know, the fact that they had made a friggin' fortune on the first one, and all the actors were paid scale, and then somehow Paramount got Screen Actors Guild to give a waiver on their actors participating in part 2. Go figure that one.
Well, it was so good to see you in the sequel, and I was very disappointed when they killed you off. And I love all the Jason sequels, but my only critique about part 2 was that when you were first introduced, I mean, from everything from the setting to the wardrobe, it just felt different. It didn't feel like Alice.
There was no wardrobe fitting, as you can tell, you know. I mean, I think they were afraid I was pregnant. I don't know, just in case. Here, put her in a potato sack.
And I didn't think they were going to kill you off at first, because when they were going into the whole shower sequence, there's a bit of a formula to all these movies, right? And the fact that we didn't see you, literally without clothes, respectfully, I thought, oh, she's going to survive. She'll be fine.
And that's only because I refused. Thank you. It's not for lack of trying. The same thing in the first one, except it wasn't in my contract and I knew they had enough film on me and I went, no way. Are you kidding me? Do you know what the nuns would say?
Gotcha. I understand. I understand.
That's where I come around and I say, it took me a while to get it together. My art was my savior. It was my therapy. My art went from here, this pretty side of things, you know, pretty. And then it got dark. And this is a commission, by the way. So I went to London last year and saw Starry Night, the original by Van Gogh. And this is Crystal Lake Dreams. So you can see there's a little something going on underneath the canoe, but you're not quite sure. So that is going to be auctioned off online on my Facebook and on my Instagram for Children's Lifeline International, which is a family children's charity that my father-in-law started, God rest his soul, and my sister-in-law Nisa and my husband Richard are continuing, and this is how I give to that charity.
Yes, love it. Having you here, seeing you, hearing your story, I mean, wow. I mean, there's just you're a survivor, you're a fighter, and you stayed productive and you channeled a lot of that into your art, and you're an artist. I mean, that's that's amazing. Did the art, I mean, have you always been an artist, or did that come with the acting?
It came in conjunction. So my first commercial was at 6 months old. I always say I had very little to say about it. But we lived right outside of New York City. It was a no-brainer. I said my mom had creative financing and decided I should be a breadwinner at 6 months. I was drawn to the energy of a set. I can say at 2 years old, but I brought my crayons with me. I always had I brought my watercolors with me because there's always so much downtime on a set. And then when I did like commercials, I would do something and there'd be all these people going, that's so good, that's so good. And as a child, you believe everything you hear. And so many people, when they're kids, people say, oh, that doesn't look like that. I never had that problem. Everything was praised. So of course, it's easy to get better, right? And I'd give out my little drawings and people would go, oh, this is so fabulous. Well, here I am. I'm 70 years old and I'm still giving out my little drawings.
That's so cool. Miss Adrienne, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Super congrats on all your incredible work, talent, and success.
I appreciate that. Thank you for reaching out to me.
Guys, thank you so much for watching. We're only a few days away from Halloween, so rewatch Friday the 13th, rewatch the entire franchise. I wanted to give a quick shout out to a couple of amazing friends, Hapa and Mora, for giving me this epic Jason character. Thank you, Hapa. Thank you, Mora. I really appreciate it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for believing, and we'll see you soon. Cheers.